Welcome to the DivaDeets, the ultimate podcast for women over 40 who are ready to take control of their health, ditch the diets, and lose weight for good. I am Danya Powers, your host and coach, here to guide you through every step of the journey. Today, we're tackling a big topic that so many of us face: emotional eating. Whether it's stress, boredom, or even celebration, turning to food for comfort can feel like a never-ending, inescapable cycle. But here's the truth: you can take control back, and I'm going to show you how. By the end of the episode, you're going to have the tools to recognize emotional eating triggers, strategies to respond differently, and a plan to start breaking free from the cycle. Why does emotional eating happen? My own story: my family surrounded everything around food. Everything I was taught growing up had to do with food, good or bad food, but everything surrounded food, right? And I did learn how to become obese basically through my family and their habits. I had an uncle that died of extreme obesity. Complications because of extreme obesity. I shouldn't say he died of obesity. It was a factor contributing to his death. And he was young. He was probably right around my age, maybe slightly older, but I think he was really right around my age, which is 48. And I think that really shaped a lot. The obesity around me and my childhood shaped a lot of why I do what I do, because I think that we should have a different quality of life and it shouldn't be miserable, surrounded with health complications because of obesity. And I think being taken too young because of obesity, it's hard. That's almost like a long suicide. You know what I mean? Just a rough thing to be on this side of. So I want to help you understand why emotional eating happens, because it's not a lack of willpower. And I really want you to get that out of your head, because self-condemnation comes with that. And it's really important that you understand it's not a lack of willpower. It's about how we have trained our brains to cope. And some of that is systemic, coming from family, but some of it's what we have done to ourselves over time. We do have to take personal responsibility for our life. We cannot continue to blame other people for our decisions. Does that make sense? So, stress eating, what is it? Stress increases cortisol. Cortisol increased in our system can make you crave sugary or high carb foods for a quick energy boost, because it does feel exhausting. That flight or fight, that when it kicks in, you're just tired after. So that is one of the things that happens. We just start craving sugary food. Boredom eating is probably the one that I'm guilty of the most. Food becomes a distraction when we're not mentally stimulated. So for me, boredom eating feels like I'm being productive. You know what I mean? If I'm chewing and I'm doing things, I'm doing things. I'm kind of an ADHD, ADD driven person, and I have a tendency to press in and try to do a million things. So I feel more stimulated mentally when I'm boredom eating. Is there anybody else? Can you feel me on that? Celebratory eating. We've talked about that. My family was all about celebratory eating. We've linked food with joy and connection. Instead of relationships and people, we've attached that to food, and that can make it hard to separate emotions from eating. And that is a lot of us. I would say that a lot of us are really guilty of that. Emotional eating happens because food feels comforting. It's a quick fix, but it doesn't actually address the root of the problem. It leaves us feeling stuck, and it doesn't ever actually give us any kind of true comfort. So the first step in identifying emotional eating and overcoming emotional eating is to identify triggers. So the first step in conquering is awareness of every single thing that we deal with in our life. So you need to ask yourself, what situations make me turn to food? What happens? A death in the family, my kids misbehaving, I have teenagers, could be any number of things, dog pooping in the floor. Those situations may make you turn to food. For me, sometimes the gateway is alcohol, which leads to food. That glass of wine leads to food. Anybody else? Am I the only person that's a gateway for that? Let's ask another question. What emotions am I feeling when I grab a snack? Let's ask another question. Is this true hunger, or am I trying to fill a need? And this is what I want you to do. So what I did was I took a calendar. I did not bring it in here with me, but it's just a paper calendar that I printed out on a piece of paper. Okay, print it out. And I want you to keep basically a journal. Write down what you eat, when you eat it, and how you're feeling. Okay. patterns start to emerge, and that's where kind of the magic really begins, because once you know your triggers, you can start addressing them. I had one client that was like, I had 5 chocolate sundaes today. And looking back, what I should have done is been like, you know what? Every single day you're going to eat a chocolate sundae, because your brain needs to understand you're not being deprived. And that part is important. And eventually you're not going to crave that chocolate sundae because you're not feeling like you're sneaking it. Does that make sense? So that part of our brain that feels like it's indulgent and we're being naughty, we're taking that away and really trying to understand, do we actually want a chocolate sundae? And most of the time it's no. One of the coaches that I work with, she's amazing. Her name is Samantha Mills. I was listening to her podcast, and she was talking about how she made her client eat a gallon of ice cream every day or something like that, until she literally didn't want ice cream anymore. Because that was her big excuse, is I sit down and have a gallon of ice cream. And Sam was like, okay, well, great. Let's have a gallon of ice cream every day. What they did was shifted her calories out. So if the gallon of ice cream or a half gallon or pint or whatever it was, was 800 calories, they went and pulled it out of her day. And I think while she was eating the ice cream, she still lost weight. She was terribly hungry every evening, and she felt really bad because she wasn't getting enough macronutrients, but she didn't gain any weight. But she also really, really got sick of ice cream, to the point that I think she has a gallon of ice cream sitting in her fridge that she hasn't touched in like a year or something like that, which is kind of gross, but you see what I'm saying? So you have to realize, like, why are you feeling the way that you feel when you eat? What lie are you telling yourself? What are you giving into? And I think it's really important to realize that. Some other strategies, because I'm not telling you to go and eat a gallon of ice cream, understand that, but at the same time, are you using that as an excuse? And so how can we undo that before you get yourself into deep trouble and gain more weight, right? Because we want to not get skinny, but we want to be healthy. We want to be the best version of ourselves. So 3 strategies that I do, and these are the ones that my coach has taught me. My coach is Terrence Pennington. He is amazing. I can't say enough good things about him. But pause before you eat. You want to take 5 breaths before grabbing food. This pause can help you determine if you are truly hungry or really just kind of reacting to an emotion. Does that make sense? So if you feel like you're having an emotion, that's where your journal comes in. Like, what am I feeling as I try to eat this food? And then, are you really reacting to emotion, or are you truly hungry? And then we want to take the time to replace the habits. So if you're bored, go for a walk. That's my big answer, is like, throw my headphones on, go for a walk. Doesn't matter the temperature outside. It doesn't matter if it's pouring rain, go for a walk. Call a friend. My assistant, Laura Jones, has had many crying phone calls from me, because there are just moments of weakness in all of our lives. And you need that person that's going to be like, yes, I know that your cat just died, but you have 2 other cats. Or, I know it's raining, but isn't it so pretty? Those people are in your world. Call out, reach out to them. You could also dive into a hobby. I used to crochet, but I got a wicked case of tennis elbow, so I don't do that anymore. But you could read, you could journal, you could meditate. I do a lot of yoga. I love yoga. You could even just do stretching or whatever. Just do that instead of reaching for snacks, something active. If it's boredom related, you need to do something active. That's what you need, is some activity. You can also create what I call a comfort toolbox. You can fill it with non-comfort items like your favorite book. You can have your favorite playlist on hand with headphones right there, so that you can just pop it into your ears and sit and chill. You can have a meditation, a podcast, anything on hand. You could have a cozy blanket, essential oils. I have all this sitting right beside my favorite chair in the living room, believe it or not, all right there. Because when emotions hit, I can reach for my toolbox instead of heading for the fridge. The other thing is, I give out customized meal plans to my clients. It's really important that you have some kind of structured meal plan or snack plan. So having structured meals prevents mindless eating. It helps you know, hey, I'm going to be having a balanced meal soon. So it's a little bit easier to pause and ask, do I really need this right now? And that's where that comes in really handy. That's where a coach comes in handy, but also just you having the discipline to create a meal plan or a snack plan. And then here's the big one: practice grace, not guilt. We spend so much time being self-condemning as women. If you do emotionally eat, it is not the end of the world. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, kind of reflect on maybe why it happened, see what you can learn from it, and then move forward. Progress, not perfection. We're not all or nothing. That is not how we roll in life. We have learned that that is the wrong way. So progress, not perfection, is always the goal. Listen, this week, the next time you feel the urge to emotionally eat, pause. Take 5 big, long breaths, and then write down how you're feeling and what triggered that craving. The biggest thing you're learning is you and who you are. And that's not a bad thing. You've been running from her and ignoring her a little bit too long. This is what I want you to do. Find our Facebook group. It is on Facebook, obviously, because it's a Facebook group. It is the Empowered Coaching Divas free group. I'd love to hear how this practice is helping you to start recognizing and shifting your patterns. And you'll be supported by hundreds of other women, probably walking through a lot of the same things that you are. Listen, emotional eating does not define you. Divas, it doesn't even have to control you. With awareness and the right strategies, you can break the cycle and take back control. And remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Thanks for tuning in to DivaDeets. If this responds to, I think I said DivaDeets, and it's DivaDeets. Excuse me. Thanks for tuning in to DivaDeets. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another diva who needs to hear it. And don't forget to tag me on social media with your wins. My taglines are after this episode, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way. Until the next time we chat, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, divas. Thanks for tuning into DivaDeets, where we're all about helping women over 40 take control of their health and feel fabulous in their own skin. If you're ready to take your next step on your journey, I'd love to invite you into my world. Join my free community for exclusive tips, support, and inspiration from other women just like you. You want some personalized guidance? Check out my coaching programs designed to help you lose weight, gain confidence, and transform your life without restrictive diets or hours of cardio. You can find me at Danya Powers EC on Instagram, Danya Powers on Facebook, or Empowered Coaching on YouTube. Let's connect and let's start making those goals a reality. And remember, until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas.